What would you keep within arm's reach in your truck if you knew the clock between safety and survival could be measured in heartbeats? Imagine running your hand over a hidden compartment and finding a tool that looks like a tidy block but unfolds into something that changes the whole conversation about concealment, deployment, and practicality. This is the world of modern truck guns. And over the last few years, that world has gone from niche hobby to mainstream consideration for a lot of Americans. The line between a carry gun and a vehicle gun has blurred, and manufacturers are answering a single question: how small can a meaningful defensive package be while still being effective when seconds count? What follows is a guided walk through some of the cleverest, oddest, and most practical options on the market today. Rifles that fold, shotguns that shorten without becoming illegal curiosities, and pistols that masquerade as harmless geometry until you need them to be something very different. Start with a design that feels like science fiction made real. A folding 9mm that collapses into a compact, nearly square block and then springs open into a fast-handling firearm ready to go. The idea here is pure concealment without giving up ballistic commonality. It runs on magazines you already know and carry, and its folding chassis means you can stash it where a normal rifle would never fit. It's built tough, with a steel chassis and hardened slide components, and its folding control surfaces are ambidextrous, designed so you're not fumbling when split seconds matter. The art here isn't just in the folding mechanism itself. It's in the way the designers traded a few inches of length for an enormous gain in portability. In practice, that means you can keep a compact rifle in places you'd never consider before. Glove compartments, under-center consoles, or slim covert cases tucked out of sight. Deploying it cleanly takes training, sure, but with a practiced push on the right handle, it swings into life in about a second. Fast enough to change the outcome in a close-quarters threat. Then there's the sort of firearm that literally pivots on a novel concept. Picture the top half of a rifle swinging around the bottom half until everything locks together in a compact, nearly square footprint. That pivoting action is more than a gimmick. It allows a full-length barrel to be carried in a package that hides its intent until the moment it's needed. The barrel lengths are long enough to make real use of the cartridge's accuracy potential. And because it feeds from common magazine types, you're not inventing a new logistics problem for yourself. The finish and materials are a purposeful mix. Steel, where rigidity matters. Aluminum and polymer, where weight savings count. So the whole rig stays light enough to be practical in everyday transport, yet rugged enough to be used without babying it. Think of it as the difference between carrying a tool and lugging a specialty instrument. This one feels like something you'd reach for because it's the right tool for the job, not because it looks flashy. Not all compactness comes from folding. Shotguns, for example, have taken their own unique paths. There are pump-action pistols with 14-inch barrels and bird's head grips that sit just above the legal thresholds for being considered a short-barreled shotgun, allowing them to be sold and carried without onerous tax stamps in many jurisdictions. These are designed explicitly for close-quarters work. Short, fast to shoulder in tight hallways, and brutally simple to operate. Their ergonomics, meaty steel receivers, slick surfacing pumps, ambidextrous controls, make them feel more like well-tuned machinery than novelty pieces. They shove shells out with a satisfying brutality that speaks to reliability. And for a homeowner or a driver who needs a compact option, they check boxes that other platforms can't. Short overall length, high power at close range, and the ability to mount lights or optics where needed. Manufacturers have also been experimenting with changing the way recoil and action happen, and one of the more interesting experiments is a pistol-caliber PDW built around a roller-delayed action. In simple terms, this design bites back the recoil in a smarter way than a straight blowback PCC, letting you run lighter weight parts and keep the whole system more controllable. The result is a compact package with a 6-inch barrel, an aluminum upper and handguard for heat resistance and stiffness, and a reinforced polymer lower that keeps weight down. Translucent magazines with beefy metal feed lips give both capacity and quick visual checks of your load state. and ambidextrous controls make it realistic for real-world handling by different shooters. The overall feel is of a compact, well-balanced tool made to be comfortable in a backpack or stowed in a vehicle without feeling like a compromise in shootability. Bullpup shotguns push the envelope in a different direction. They take the barrel back and the action forward, so you get maximum length for shot patterns while keeping the overall platform wearable in cramped spaces. One modern bullpup manages dual magazine tubes for impressive capacity. Imagine having a near armory's worth of 12 gauge in a package only a few inches longer than standard rifles. It's a heavy platform, not a featherweight, but the weight is part of the design philosophy. Some mass helps tame recoil and makes the shotgun feel stable under rapid strings of fire. Controls have become ambidextrous and sophisticated enough to feel familiar to AR-style operators, with loaded chamber indicators, Picatinny rails for optics, and M-lock slots for lights and foregrips. The catch is that the loading ergonomics can be a little fussy, and in a high-stress defensive scenario, you'd rather not be topping off mid-fight. So the thinking is tactical. Rely on SA, the generous capacity and train to manage reloads in safer moments. If you want something that channels Eastern European Special Forces aesthetics, a compact AK in 9mm, the market has a few homegrown answers that lean on the AK's legendary durability, but swap in a direct blowback system for the pistol caliber. These hybrids keep the forged trunnions and stout bolts you expect from an AK, while using widely available pistol magazines to make logistics simple. The top dust cover rails make optics easy, and the extended safety levers and paddle-style mag releases mean operating is straightforward, even under stress. For people who like the AK ergonomics but don't want the power or weight penalty of rifle cartridges, this sort of 9mm AK is a pragmatic compromise. Familiar controls, hefty construction, and magazines you can get without hunting special order gear. On the smaller side of the shotgun world, some designs go boutique by trimming tube lengths and overall dimensions to the bare legal minimums while keeping the handling intuitive. Short bullpup units with single tubes and bottom ejection are clever because they stop shells from being flung at your face and concentrate the profile for stowage. They'll surprise you with how well they handle despite their odd looks. The short pump stroke and ambidextrous release make them fast in tight spaces. And the big, triangular ghost sight is shockingly practical when you don't have time to index a conventional bead. You might balk at the aesthetics at first glance, but the minute you shoulder it and run a few rounds, the odd becomes lovable for the way it just works. Folding shotguns are another intriguing design space. A semi-auto with a 14-inch barrel that folds down small enough to slide into a laptop bag sounds almost irresponsible, and yet it exists precisely because engineers recognized a need for highly portable, quickly deployable packages. These systems trade some traditional shotgun ergonomics for transportability, but they keep important details: textured grips, crossbolt safeties, bolt releases, where you can find them instinctively. Magazines under the barrel keep reloads straightforward, and a Picatinny rail means you can add a light for vehicle use without improvisation. The price points on these tend to be friendly, which makes them realistic options for drivers who want to keep a compact defensive solution at hand without spending a small fortune. There's also a category of stockless, shockwave-style shotguns that strip away full-length stocks, but retain all the shotgun power in a package that's short and legal in many places where an SBR wouldn't be. They are, frankly, a learning curve. Handling a stockless shotgun feels different. It takes practice to get the right cheek weld and stance. But for car storage or a bedside solution where footprint matters more than classical shouldering, they're hard to beat on convenience. They're light, fast to cycle, and typically priced to be accessible, which is a combination that makes them a popular choice for a lot of folks building a layered defensive plan. Pistol caliber carbines continue to proliferate, and one of the smarter entries is a folding PCC that takes advantage of larger pistol cartridges like 10mm to give you more ballistic punch from a carbine-length barrel. Folding mechanics borrowed from compact designs make them easy to stash. Yet the longer barrel and robust buffer systems make recoil manageable, even with stout loads. If you want to take advantage of longer sight radius and better muzzle velocity without giving up portability, these fill the niche perfectly. They also often ship with multiple magazines and storage carriers built into the furniture, which is a small detail that becomes very valuable in the real world. Spare mags that travel with the rifle mean fewer surprises when you need them. Finally, there are value-oriented, purpose-built 9mm carbines that are built as pragmatic, no-nonsense tools. Short-threaded barrels, M-lock handguards, and full-length top rails mean customization without complexity. Fully ambidextrous controls are standard now rather than optional, and captured buffer systems shorten receiver length without creating reliability headaches. For everyday carry in a vehicle, these designs often represent the best blend of price, performance, and parts commonality, especially when the company controls much of its production in-house and pairs matching magazines for a consistent user experience. Across all these options, the through line is clear. Modern truck guns aren't a single gun or a single philosophy. They're a family of solutions built around concealment, speed of deployment, and shootability in confined spaces. Some designs prioritize concealment through folding and collapsing geometry. Others prioritize raw capacity or shock-stopping power with short-barrel shotguns. And a few chase a middle ground by offering rifle-like handling in pistol calibers that are easier to control. None of them is a magic bullet. Every choice introduces trade-offs in ergonomics, training, legal considerations, and storage. What they do offer, if chosen thoughtfully and practiced with, is an accessible way to add a meaningful capability to your vehicle without turning your cab into a weapons locker. So what would you choose to keep within reach in your truck if seconds mattered and your options were anything but simple? If you want a compact rifle that folds away like a harmless block, would you trade a little weight for that kind of concealment? If you prefer the brutal simplicity of a short shotgun, are you ready for the different handling it requires? Drop your thoughts in a comment and hit subscribe to Bullet Bound so we can keep breaking down the gear that matter.